Learning gender nouns in Hebrew is essential because the language is highly gendered, and gender influences verbs, adjectives, pronouns, and other elements as well. In this video, I will explain how to identify the gender of a Hebrew noun. Remember that to read Hebrew text, the alphabet and Niqqud must be known, which I showed in the previous videos, and I'd highly recommend watching those before proceeding with this lesson. The best way to determine the gender of a noun is to look for common endings of nouns. For instance, the letters hey and taf are common endings for feminine nouns, like in the words milah, isha, Torah, chavera, medina, delet, malchut. I'm showing the nouns with the Niqqud and transliterating them, so as a rule of thumb, if a noun ends in hey or taf, it's usually feminine. On the other hand, masculine nouns have no special endings, so it's quite hard to identify them. Still, if a noun ends in any other letter but hey and taf, we can call it masculine, like the words sefer, shulchan, davar, ben, ach, yom. Generally, these are the patterns to identify the gender of Hebrew nouns, but there are exceptions, like feminine nouns that may look masculine, like eretz and shemesh. Some nouns do not follow any patterns, so it's best to memorize them with their definite article or adjective. So, a good learning method is to always learn nouns in context, like HaSefer HaGadol, the big book, masculine, and HaMilah HaChadasha, the new word, feminine, because of hey at the end. In this case, Hebrew not only attaches a definite prefix to the noun, making it an article, but also attaches it to the adjective itself, following the noun, because this is a rule in Hebrew grammar. Essentially, identifying a noun's gender in Hebrew makes you build and expand your vocabulary, and so the best way to know a noun's gender is to read Hebrew and remember many words. When in doubt, you can always look up a word in a Hebrew dictionary that marks gender, which is often shown with the symbols zayin, masculine, and nun, feminine. Otherwise, you can use context from adjectives to determine gender. Nonetheless, you can encounter plural nouns when reading Hebrew, and pluralization is a key skill, being a tricky concept because of irregular patterns. In Hebrew, there are two main plural endings, im for masculine nouns and ot for feminine nouns. The ending im, spelled yud mem sofit, is used for most masculine nouns. And to make learning simple, let's reuse some of the previous masculine nouns that I showed. Sfarim, dvarim, banim, achim, yamim. In this case, when the nouns are plural, their Niqqud slightly changes because they're segolate nouns that have segol within them. Such nouns consist of a consonant-vowel pattern, like the words sefer and davar, which explains why their Niqqud changes. Still, some masculine nouns will not have this ending, and instead they will have the feminine ending ot, even though their gender will remain masculine, like the nouns kiseh and shulchan. When plural, they will have the feminine ending kisaot, shulchanot. Next, the ending ot, spelled vav, taf, is used for most feminine nouns, so let's reuse some of the previous feminine nouns that I showed. Chaverot, medinot, dlatot, mimlachot. When the nouns are plural, their Niqqud also changes because of the segol symbol within them, like the words medina and delet. Still, some feminine nouns will come with exceptions, having the masculine ending im, even though their gender will remain feminine, like the nouns milim and nashim. Overall, some masculine and feminine nouns will basically switch their endings when there are exceptions, so patterns help, but exceptions must be known. In such a manner, we can look at common pluralization patterns that will have regular and irregular changes, so it's possible to memorize their patterns and understand how nouns can be pluralized, considering their gender. In summary, it's always best to memorize new nouns with their plural forms, practice with adjective-noun agreement, and use a good dictionary that will show plural forms, gender, and example sentences with nouns.